She married a prince, wore the crown, lived the dream, and still, they tore her apart. From the moment Meghan Markle entered the royal spotlight, the narrative was already written for her, and it wasn't a happy one. Behind the designer dresses and wedding day smiles was a system she could never win against. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll see exactly why Meghan's royal fate was sealed long before the wedding bells rang. They called it a modern fairy tale, but Meghan Markle's story was never going to be told like one. From the moment the news broke that Prince Harry was dating a divorced, biracial, American actress, the headlines weren't hopeful, they were hostile. British tabloids immediately dove into her past, her family, her career, her skin tone. Long before the wedding, they were already drawing battle lines. One fan tweeted, "It felt like the press decided she was a villain before they even learned how to spell her name." Royal experts say the monarchy has always struggled with change, but Meghan represented too much change, too quickly. She wasn't just an outsider by bloodline. She was outspoken, independent, feminist, American, media-savvy, and perhaps most importantly, unapologetic. Professor Kehinde Andrews, a scholar in race and culture, said in an interview, "She challenged the quiet, unspoken codes of the royal institution, just by existing. That made her dangerous to the establishment." While Kate Middleton was groomed for royalty over years of preparation, Meghan entered with a global brand, a voice of her own, and the confidence to use it. For a system rooted in silence and obedience, that was never going to be accepted quietly. The most painful part? Meghan thought she could be accepted by simply showing up with grace. But grace was never the issue. Power was. They smiled in public. They waved from the balcony. But behind the palace walls, silence. And in the media? It was open season on Meghan Markle. From the moment she joined the royal family, the UK tabloids treated Meghan not like a duchess, but like a target. Daily Mail headlines picked apart her clothing, her family, her baby bump, even the way she held Harry's hand. And the comparisons were brutal. When Kate Middleton gently cradled her stomach during pregnancy, headlines called her glowing. When Meghan did the same, self-obsessed and vain. When Meghan closed her own car door, a tabloid ran a story titled, "Meghan breaks royal protocol, again." The media narrative became so toxic that Harry was forced to release a public statement just months into their relationship, condemning the racist and sexist attacks on Meghan's character. But the palace? They said nothing. One fan wrote in a viral thread, "It felt like she was being sacrificed to protect the image of the rest of the royals." And everyone just let it happen. Insiders later revealed that Meghan had begged the institution for help, for protection, for statements, for support. She was told it wasn't the way things are done. And that's when the walls really started to close in. Behind the designer coats and perfect waves, Meghan was disappearing. In public, she smiled. In private, she was drowning. In the Oprah interview that shocked the world, Meghan revealed what most people had only guessed. Inside the palace, she felt utterly alone. Her passport was taken, her keys, her phone. She wasn't allowed to go out alone. She had to ask permission just to meet friends for lunch. "I just didn't want to be alive anymore," she admitted, voice trembling. And when she asked for help, she was told no, that it would look bad for the institution. One viewer posted online, "That moment broke me. Imagine asking for help while pregnant, and being told it would damage the family brand." Mental health experts later said her story was a textbook case of emotional neglect, being physically surrounded by staff and royals, and still completely unsupported. Even Harry admitted he was ashamed of how long it took him to recognize what she was going through. But once he did, the decision was made. They had to leave, not for freedom, for survival. When Harry and Meghan announced they were stepping back from royal duties, the world gasped. But inside the palace, it was already too late. The headlines called it Megxit, framing Meghan as the manipulator, the reason Harry walked away. But those close to them say it wasn't a sudden decision. It was the slow realization that staying meant losing themselves. One journalist tweeted, "They didn't leave the royal family left them. Emotionally, publicly, and politically." The backlash was immediate and brutal. Tabloids labeled them ungrateful. Pundits questioned Meghan's motives. Some even suggested she planned it all. from actress to duchess to billionaire brand builder. But the truth was simpler. They wanted peace. And peace doesn't exist inside a palace built on silence and sacrifice. Moving to North America didn't solve everything. It came with more media criticism, security drama, and the constant accusation that they had betrayed their duty. But for Harry, it was the first time he felt like he was truly protecting his wife and his son. The cost? Royal titles, family relationships, public favor. But the gain? A chance to finally live as human beings, not headlines. They may have walked away from the palace, but Harry and Meghan didn't disappear. They redefined themselves. With multi-million-dollar deals from Netflix, Spotify, and Penguin Random House, the couple built a media empire not rooted in royalty, but in their own voice. Their projects, from Archetypes to Harry and Meghan, the Netflix docuseries, gave them something the monarchy never did: control of their own narrative. Critics said they were cashing in, but supporters argued they were reclaiming their truth. As one fan posted, "If the institution writes your story without you, you write your own damn book." And they did. Harry's memoir, Spare, revealed just how deep the pain ran, from sibling rivalry to grief over Diana. Meghan's podcast addressed identity, motherhood, and how women are silenced. And their charitable foundation, Archewell, has backed causes from mental health to gender equity. It's not about fairy tales anymore, it's about healing, legacy, and raising their children in a world where love matters more than lineage. They may never be welcomed back to the palace gates, but maybe, just maybe, they're building something even stronger. A life with boundaries, a love that's private, a future that finally feels like theirs. She never stood a chance, not because she wasn't good enough, but because the system was never built to hold someone like her. Meghan walked into the palace with love, strength, and grace. But from the very first day, the whispers were louder than the welcomes. The press hunted her. The institution ignored her. And the public turned her into a symbol, when all she wanted was to be a woman in love. But in the end, she didn't break. She walked. And in doing so, she forced the world to ask hard questions about tradition, power, race, and truth. Questions the royal family still hasn't answered. So whether you love her or not, one thing's clear: Meghan Markle didn't ruin the royal family. She exposed it. Which moment hit you the hardest? Was it the silence? The headlines? The moment she said she didn't want to live? Let me know in the comments. And if you found this story powerful, be sure to like, subscribe, and stick around. Because next time, we're unpacking the most scandalous royal affairs you've never heard about. And trust me, it's darker than you think.